afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our MSME Masterclass. Today's conversation focuses on a structural shift underway in construction, how projects can be delivered faster, lighter, and with far greater precision using light gauge steel in dry construction, which is also referred to as LGS. As timelines tighten and cost pressures intensify, conventional methods are increasingly struggling to keep pace. The industry is moving towards engineered systems that prioritize speed, standardization, and predictability over on-site improvisation. Light gauge steel sits at the center of this transition. It enables faster erection, reduces dependency on wet trades, and brings a level of consistency that traditional materials often fail to deliver, particularly in complex environments such as high-rise developments, commercial builds, and infrastructure projects. To explore this depth, we are joined by someone who has spent over 2 decades working on exactly these challenges. Mr. Krishnakumar Menon, CEO at Nextec Drycon LLP. His work spans residential, commercial, and large-scale infrastructure projects, including airports and metro systems, where execution speed and precision are critical. He specializes in drywall framing and light gauge steel systems with a strong focus on material efficiency and scalable construction methodologies. Crucially, his insights are grounded in hands-on execution, understanding how projects can be accelerated without losing control over cost or quality. In today's session, he will share practical perspectives on how MSMEs and contractors can adopt light gauge steel and dry construction techniques to compress timelines, improve site efficiency, and deliver projects with greater certainty. Welcome to our MSME Masterclass, sir. We're thrilled to have you with us today.
Thanks a lot, Amrita. That was a wonderful introduction. Basically, I just wanted to thank you for having me on board. This is a wonderful session wherein I get to speak on light gauge steel, which has been my passion for a long time. So what is light gauge steel? Light gauge steel is basically a steel which is 0.5 to 3 mm thick, and the profiles that are made out of light gauge steel is basically C profiles, U profile, and a Z profile. Now, what do we do with these sections? We use them for a very simple system like a fall ceiling, which customers generally do residential houses with, or it can be used to do heavy loadings like stone, any fit out like a GFRG, etc., etc. So when I say light gauge steel, it's basically steel that is found in coils, and we use special roll forming machines to make different profiles out of it. Now these are used for walls, floors, roofs, etc., etc. There are different kinds of applications to light gauge steel.
So tell us, how do dry construction systems using LGS reduce project timelines in practice?
Okay, so typically in India, the construction is more of a brick and mortar. So what we do is we see a lot of RCC construction happening. We use a lot of block in our construction practices. And when you look at construction, there are 4 different facets of construction. One is the foundation, the structure, walls and services, and finishing. So these are different stages of construction. So when I look at foundation structure, typically it remains the same if it's a RCC construction or if it's a light gauge steel construction. But where you get savings is the walls and services and finishing. So walls typically can be constructed out of block. So there is a sequence of operations. You have block, and then you use cement to lay the blocks, and you got lintels and columns and etc. That's how you build the wall. Whereas when it comes to LGS, you will have a frame, and then you will have both side boards on either side of the frame, and that's how you construct the wall. So what happens is you have a lot of time savings when you do typical block construction vis-a-vis LGS construction. So for example, if I can just put numbers, if you take out a villa of around 2,000 to 3,000 square feet of villa, the typical wall and services takes around 6 to 8 weeks. Whereas when you do it in LGS, it will just bring it down by 50%. So 3 to 4 weeks, you can actually construct the entire walls of a villa. After the wall is constructed, you need to do finishing. So that's where the putty, the paint, and etc. comes in. When it comes to block, generally there is a cement render that is done on block, and then then the other things follow. But when it comes to LGS, the wall is already finished because you're using a cement board or a plaster board, and it's a finished wall. You just have to do jointing finishing, and you can directly do painting if required. So therein you save a lot of time. Okay, so typically if I look at a 2000 to 3000 square feet villa, it can get constructed using wet construction in around 6.5 to 9 months. Vis-a-vis when you use an LGS, it can get done in 5 to 7 months. So that's around 25% saving of time. That's how LGS is actually beneficial when it comes to giving timely delivery of projects.
Understood. Now, so when it comes to the types of project that LGS supports, can you help our attendees understand what are the types of projects that are best suited for LGS-based dry construction?
Okay, so in India, typically the best projects would be the projects that are basically time dependent, in the sense when you look at schools, when you look at hospitals, when you look at industrial sheds, look at warehouses, look at villas, low-rise housing, hotels. So these are the projects wherein there are investors involved. They want the facility to be built in a specific time frame because time is money. So these are the projects where LGS construction would be far more beneficial to the client. And these are the projects where they need to adopt LGS construction because it will save a lot of time. At the same time, what happens is, all these projects will have a lot of services to deal with. So when you do LGS, services is the most important and the most easiest way to pass through an LGS construction, dry construction. So I guess this is where the LGS would probably take it away from the typical brick and mortar construction.
Right. Moving on, sir, how does LGS impact the overall project cost, compared to the traditional methods that we have here in India?
Okay, so let me tell you how this will save cost, and this is basically where when I interact with the customer, he will probably tell me, okay, you tell me what is the per square feet cost of an LGS wall vis-a-vis a brick and mortar. In that way, the LGS will work out to be probably around 15-20% costlier as compared to a brick and mortar. But that's not the way you need to see it. You need to see it in a very holistic manner. So when you actually incorporate LGS construction or drywall construction into a project, you need to look at how much foundation cost does it save, because it's lighter as compared to a block construction. It will save you time, so that means lower financing cost. It can bring reduced dependency on labor, so you work with more upskilled labor, but then this labor will give you productivity. Okay, so you get better finish of the walls. And what happens is, you see in construction sites there are a lot of debris, there's a lot of wastage. So you compare that with dry construction, it's far more cleaner side. The materials that go into construction can be recyclable. So there's actually, if you look at the overall project savings, it comes to a number of around 5 to 7% of the overall project cost if you plan it really well.
And what are the key components, and materials used in an LGS dry construction system?
Yes. So when I say an LGS or a dry construction, it's basically a drywall or a fall ceiling or a dry cladding system. So what we do is, the backbone of this is a metal frame. The metal frame would be anywhere between 0.5 to 1.2 BMT, or it can be more than that. After that, you have got insulation which will go between the metal frames. So the insulation would be a rock wool or a glass wool insulation. After that, you have substrates with which the walls are constructed. So these are basically lining boards. So that can be gypsum board, that can be fiber cement board, it can be glass mat board. Different kinds of products can be used depending upon application. So for example, you're constructing a hospital and you're constructing basically a wall for the rooms of the hospital. So you will require high impact gypsum boards. So you use high impact boards there. You're constructing a wet area wall, dry wall. So a wall in a washroom or a dry wet area, there you will require cement boards. You're constructing a simple partition for an office, so you'll require a regular gypsum board. So there are different kinds of boards that go onto the drywall. So basic elements are framing. The framing is anchored back to the structure using fasteners, anchor fasteners. Then you have insulation infill within the framing, and you have then plaster boards or cement boards on either side. Finally, it is finished by a jointing compound or a paper tape or a fiber tape. So these are the broad components of a drywall or a dry construction wall.
So my next question to you is, how steep, is the learning curve for contractors shifting from conventional methods to LGS?
Okay, so you need to understand how construction happens in India. It's an adaptive construction that happens typically in India, just because it's an RCC driven thing. Generally what happens is the contractor comes in, you have a basic drawing, the wall layouts and everything. At site it can change. So that's typically possible in an RCC construction. Once the walls are made, then you chase and you pass conduits and etc. So this is, and then you finish. So this is how the construction happens in India when it comes to block construction. So this is where the shift has to happen. So what happens is, in RCC it's a site-driven adaptive construction, whereas in LGS it has to be a pre-planned construction. So before the start of the project, the wall layouts, the services layouts, the height of any fitments that come onto the wall, what does the wall incorporate? So it can have shelves, it can have AC, it can have a lot of other features that will go onto the wall. These are all planned from the construction point of view. So planning is the most important thing, where the shift has to happen for the labor. The other thing is, what happens is, this is in a construction, in a block construction, what happens is the labor, it's a sequential step that is taken. So you construct the wall, then you chase past conduits, then you finish the wall, etc. Whereas in a drywall, you put in a framing, the conduits and the MEP guys have to be on board when the framing is laid, and you pass the MEP through the framework, and then the boarding is done. So parallelly the labor can work along with the other trades within the setup. So what I would say is, basically you're looking at an adaptive to a pre-planned shift, and this shift will happen, and the labor would probably take around 2 to 3 projects to get used to this kind of a shift. But the shift has to happen right from planning stage. So it has to start from the designer, the architect, the client. Everybody has to be in sync to make this happen, and that's when the speed is achieved, and that's when the cost is saved.
And so how does LGS perform in terms of durability, strength and safety standards here in India?
Yeah, so just imagine basically a section which is 0.75 or a 1.2 mm section, capable of holding 25 mm granite. Okay, that is how durable LGS frame is. Now we're talking about steel, so steel has very good tensile strength. So from a durability point of view, LGS is a very, very durable system. It can be it can be made durable equivalent to what a block or a brick construction takes when it comes to loading. It just needs to be incorporated in design. Okay, so when you if you look, there is no rotting, there is no termites. Termites can't affect this. There's no shrinkage, there's no cracking. Dimensionally, the profiles are very stable. The steel comes with coating, so it can be a zinc coating, it can be a zinc aluminum alloy coating. So there are different kinds of coatings that come onto LGS section. So from a durability and long-term performance, it sits very high. When it comes to strength and structural performance, it can take wind loads, it can take dead loads, it can take seismic loads. Now, the most important aspect of LGS is just because it has got a very high strength to weight ratio. So the weight is very low on the structure. So when it comes to seismic, it behaves wonderfully well. Okay, that's why countries wherein there are a lot of earthquakes, they go with LGS construction, because when there is an earthquake, it actually affects. It is basically a function of the mass that it affects. So imagine a heavy block construction under an earthquake, it will just fall down, and it can probably take a lot of lives, vis-a-vis a light drywall, which will not cause that much damage. Okay, so strength and structural performance is also very optimal. The other and seismic, it has got very good seismic advantage. When it comes to fire safety, it can be designed to take 1 hour, 2 hour of fire rating. So that's also possible. So all this aspect makes LGS or dry construction drywall a very good feasible option for projects. And given the time frame it can be erected, I think it's a very good option to look forward to.
And also help our attendees understand. So, are there any specific IS codes or regulations governing LGS, construction in India?
Yes. So typically, when you look at LGS constructions, the designs are all done in IS 801, IS 811. So what happens is, in India, these codes are not that developed as compared to the other countries, the developed countries. But what engineers do is they take reference from those codes as well. So we have the AISI S100 code, we have the Eurocode 3. So when we actually design systems, we have the Australian code AS4600. So when we actually design systems, we take reference from those codes, and that's how we design systems, so that it can cater to the client requirement. It can be robust enough to take whatever loads are required to be taken.
So also tell us, according to you, how does LGS help in reducing on-site labor dependency?
Yeah, so as I said, I'll just quote basically the movie Sholay. So it's like typical Indian construction. What happens is, whenever a contractor signs a contract and he's on board onto a site, the first thing the project manager asks him is, कितने आदमी है आपके पास, something like that. So it's like Gabbar Singh asking कितने आदमी थे, something like that. So this is a typical mindset that the speed is a function of how much people you can bring onto a site. But LGS is totally opposite. What happens is, the speed and the productivity itself is inherent in the system. So if it's planned right from the start, if you look at 10 people doing a wall of block construction, you can actually achieve the same square meters in 2 or 3 people. Okay, that's how efficient LGS construction is. I've been to different countries, and I've seen how, when I compare the sites there and large sites here in India, I just can't find labor there. Why? Basically because you see a lot of construction that has happened, but you hardly find labor, because they use drywalls predominantly in most of their construction. I can see, one of the sites in Australia, I could see one guy holding a board which is probably a 6 meter long board. He was just holding in one hand and just taking it to wherever it has to be installed. In India, typically there will be 3 people to do that. Okay, so what happens is this is how LGS can be advantageous in controlling the kind of labor you require to do a project. So less dependency on labor, what will happen is it will influence cost, and it will improve productivity, improve speed. Now you look at what's happening in typical construction today. There is shortage of labor, and this is going to be much more when it goes ahead, because the labor used to come predominantly from north and and the east. Now north and east are getting developed. The people there are finding jobs within their own state. So why would they go out to Mumbai and struggle and do all these laborious jobs? I guess LGS is the option wherein you can actually save on all these things.
So we've spoken enough about the positives. Now let's move on to the common execution challenges that MSMEs might face when adopting to LGS dry construction.
Yeah, so the first thing is planning. If you do not plan the LGS construction right from start, you can face a lot of challenges because there's a lot of coordination that needs to happen. I will just give a very simple example of a very premium own company store, flagship store we had done. This was during COVID, and what happened is we were on the drawing board for 8 to 9 months. Okay. We were interacting with their architects, we were interacting with their design team on the drawing board for 8 to 9 months for a flagship store. And we were like, why are they doing this? What is, why can't we get onto the site? But believe me, once we were on site, the construction happened in 2.5 3 months. That's how fast it happened, because everything was planned, and everything, all the challenges were maximum removed in planning and drawings, and that's how we achieved this. So I would say planning is the first important step. Upskilling labor, so labor have to be trained to actually do something like this. You need to have a good skilled labor to get a good job done. We need to have good suppliers of LGS system to projects. So the supplier has to design the system really well, up to good specs. That's one more requirement. And you need to have the material, electrical and plumbing services on board when the project starts off. So these are some of the challenges that needs to be addressed at the client and at the PMC level for things to happen very smoothly.
So my next question to you is, how can MSMEs ensure quality control and in LGS based projects?
Yeah, we just have to be very, very ethical about it and not cut corners. So when I say my steel is 300 MPa, I need to ensure that it is 300 MPa. When I say my steel is AZ 150, it has to be AZ 150. I need to be very, very clear about how the drawings have to be submitted, shop drawings to be made to site, understanding client requirement, designing it to the T, giving structural calculations to project engineers. Most important thing, once the material reaches site, I think you need to have execution support. So companies like us, we need to have site engineers posted on very important sites to handhold the contractors to execute the site, put the wall up, and if at all there are any problems during execution, take them through guide them through how it has to be done properly. So that's how quality control can happen. Quality control does not happen only at the factory level, it happens at the site level as well, because this is one area where the contractors can go wrong is execution. You can provide a very good product to site, you can design it to the T, you can do a very good job there, but if you do not handhold the contractor at site to put it up in the right manner, everything can go wrong. So the site engineers are very, very critical to this entire thing.
Right. Now, sir, what are the timelines achievable with LGS compared to the RCC or brick construction?
Yeah, so I think we discussed this. This is probably we can save around 25% time when it comes to a drywall as compared to a block construction. And this time savings come basically from because it's very neat and clean kind of walls you're constructing. You just have framework, then you have boards, you have passed the conduits, and then line it up from the other side and finish it off. So it's as easy. It's so easy to construct these walls, okay, and that's where the timeline can come down. That's it.
Yeah. And how does LGS construction fare in terms of sustainability and waste reduction?
Yes. So when it comes to steel, it's recyclable. Steel is recyclable. The boards, gypsum boards, they are recyclable. Most of the insulation material they use, they are recyclable. So it's very high on sustainability. And when you see green projects that's happening all across, they adopt a lot of dry construction because they get a lot of points there, because these products are all recyclable. At the same time, with distributed manufacturing all across India, the time taken or the distance from where the factory supplies to the site, that can be controlled. So the other thing is the energy used in making these products are less as compared to a typical block construction or a brick construction. So that's where you get a lot of sustainability coming out of it. The other thing is, you look at sites, very neat and clean, debris is very less. So wastage is very, very less, because you can actually plan it right from the design stage. So you can if you compare a block construction site to a dry construction LGS site, you will see the difference in how neatly it can be maintained. So the less wastage and debris.
Understood. And typically, sir, what are the mistakes to avoid when starting with dry construction systems?
Yeah. So I would not say as mistakes. I think I would call it as challenges which we need to overcome. And slowly people are getting into it. So first is you need to plan the project well. So your MEP, that is material, electrical, plumbing, fixtures and everything, has to be planned really well. You need to have good for construction drawings that are already made before the start of work, given to the contractor, so that he knows exactly what he is building, and everything is approved right from the start. He doesn't have to stop work. The other thing is the finishing details have to be worked out. For example, with constructing a very small fall ceiling, the fall ceiling can go and hit the vertical wall, and you'll see a crack later on after 3 years. Very simple thing like a shadow line groove which you embed in the fall ceiling can actually hide that crack. After 3 years you will see, oh, there is a groove, but ideally there is a crack, you don't see that. Okay, so it's eye for detail. These are small things. If at all there is a cove, if at all there are corners, you have to have corner beads, so these corners are very sharp. So what happens is when you actually construct a drywall really well, it looks fantastic because it's very neat finish lines. Okay, that's one. The other thing, what you need to do is you need to upskill your labor. Keep on training contractors. You know, so the primary objective of MSMEs like us is to work with top fit-out contractors and keep on training them, you know, upskilling them on what is the best practices to put up these walls. So what happens is this then gets translated to projects. So that's how you get good quality projects. And the most important thing people generally forget is when you're doing dry construction, the backbone is the framework, which is light gauge steel. It does not cost more to actually spec it a bit high. Okay, vis-a-vis actually coming back after 2.5 years and repairing that. So I think people need to understand this, that the backbone is frame, and you need to actually spec it well so that the walls are your design life of all these walls can be 50 years, up to 15 years, no issues. Okay, so these are some of the things you need to probably address and not make mistakes in defining all these things when you do a dry construction system.
Got it. So now, in principle, according to you, are clients in India receptive to LGS-based construction? And if so, how can MSMEs build trust around this?
Yeah, they're relatively receptive, but in commercial projects, okay, not in residential projects. I can remember, I guess 4 or 5 years back in Mumbai, a lot of builders adopted residential drywalls. But what happened is it failed just because it was not spec'd well. Okay, and they had to go back to block construction. So, but commercial projects, yes, they're very receptive, because in commercial, time is of essence. So people are receptive to these kind of technologies. Plus, what happens is in hotels, there is a lot of requirement for acoustics between rooms. So drywalls are the best when it comes to acoustic and stopping transmission of sound from one room to the other. There is much more importance given for fire safety. So drywalls can be designed for 2 hours of fire rating. And then in general, what happens is commercial buildings will have a lot of services that pass by, and it's easier to do it within the drywall. So yes, corporates, commercial sector is very, very receptive. Residential sector is still with block construction, just because people have not actually gone and educated a builder as to what is the right way of doing it. Very simple things can actually be. So we need to understand the pain points of drywall construction when it comes to residential. Okay, so what happens is India as a country, we do mopping every day. There is wet, tile on the tile. You do mopping, and then that water can get collected underneath. So when you actually have a dry construction, you will have a track at the bottom, and you'll have a framework. So this water gets collected, and then they'll be rusting on the track. But a very simple thing like a RCC upstand, a 150 mm upstand on which this drywall can be constructed, solves this problem. And then what happens is you can actually, in kitchen you got shelves, so you design the framing already to take a kitchen shelf, say around 8 feet. There'll be a cantilevered. You can actually load say 700-800 kgs onto it. So these are the typical things that we need to incorporate in residential when you actually do walls. So we need to go and educate the builder. We need to go, for example, if I'm a customer taking up a flat of say around 3-4 crores, okay, in Dubai I will not have any option. I will get a flat with drywalls. Okay, I will still buy it. In India, I've got an option of a block masonry, so I will just go and knock the wall. Arey, this is like it's like bhusa bhara hua hai, something like that. But what happens is this mindset needs to change. People feel that I can't nail anything onto a drywall. Okay. But that's not the right mindset. There are fasteners that come that are specifically used to hold heavy fixtures onto drywall. You can actually do an AC, you can do wall paintings, murals, you can do a lot of things. And the biggest question to ask is, okay, once you have a painting on the wall, how many times would you be removing that? You don't remove that till you paint that wall next time, right? So it's very simple things that needs to be educated to the customer for it to be adopted in residential, but they're very, very receptive in commercial projects. And that's the only way forward. Today, we are looking at commercial projects wherein, you can have external walls as dry walls and dry construction. So I would say it's basically, dry walls is a philosophy you need to promote. Okay. That's how it is.
Got it. So education, you feel, is the right method to sort of imbibe this?
All companies have to come together, educate the right way to put it up and what is the right way. Look, going forward, if you look at foam work, aluminum foam work, okay, 10 years ago, no one would adopt it. Today, a lot of people are adopting it, okay. If you look at RMC concrete, 20 years ago, no one used to do it. Okay, but today it's widely accepted. Drywalls will be widely accepted in some time, but then that change slowly. The education has to happen, right?
So tell us, what financing or cost planning considerations should MSMEs keep in mind?
Okay, so you just need to, if you're working on a big project, you need to talk to the client in a very simple way as to time is money. That's it. Okay. So the faster you get the project going, he's saving on a lot of finance cost, and that's where his overall cost comes down. If you do like comparison between a block and a drywall, you will not see savings. You will probably see a drywall to be 20% costlier. But then when you look at different aspects of construction and how we can achieve speed and how we can achieve the best finish, and how fast we can give the project, that's where the thing happens. So the overall costing you need to look at. From a manufacturer, you need to plan well, you need to buy steel in advance. So you need to have your cash flows in place. You need to be very transparent to the client that from a manufacturing point of view, I need to pay for a JSW steel in advance. Okay. So, and that's the norm. Okay. But when I'm expected to provide a credit in the market, and then that becomes a bit of a cash flow issue. So the client has to be made aware of all these things. And it's like, look, whenever I get onto a project, I would tell them, because we are one team. The moment you consider us as your team or extension of your arm, that's when the project succeeds. Okay. So you need to understand my pain points. I will understand your pain points, and let's work through this, and let's make this a very good project. That's how I approach, and I've worked with top contractors, good builders, good infra sites, and this has been helping me a lot. Yeah. So you need to be very, very transparent.
So my last question for today's session to you is, what future trends or innovations, do you see in LGS and dry construction should MSMEs prepare for?
Look, I would say the next trend in drywall would come in residential. We have adopted reasonably well in commercial projects, but the next big boom will come in residential. When you build high rises and you need to have the structural load lesser, you need to have drywalls, and that's where the big thing will come. Okay, the big boom will come. So we need to be ready to adapt to that change. We need to be ready with the products that's required to be presented then, very high spec products. and we need to have contractor teams in place to actually execute something like that. Okay. Having said that, if you look at the other markets in Middle East, in Asian markets, in China, they construct a complete hotel room in a container. They bring the container to project site and then they build an entire hotel. Okay, that's where the technology has reached. So everything is prefabricated. Today we are talking about drywalls being a new age of construction in India. They have surpassed us. They are like 20 years ahead. Okay, so prefabricated structures are the next step to next evolution in this entire thing. Okay, so I'm not saying we should be prepared now. Yes, we should start thinking as to how that can be done, because we are not even there where we should be. Okay, so that's how it is, Amrita.
With that, we've come to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing your detailed insights with our attendees on speeding up projects with lightweight steel in dry construction. It's been an honor to have you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Amrita. Thanks for having me on board. Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. So for our attendees who are online, if you'd like to view the current episode or if you've missed any part of the current episode, please go on YouTube, type JSW One MSME. You'll find all our episodes uploaded there. Thank you once again, sir. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.